The boy turned me into a side chick without my knowledge, without my mother fudging knowledge. Can you believe this? So I was just like, So hey Sassperallas, it's your girl Sassy J and welcome back to my channel. Guys, as you can tell by the description down below, today is going to be a story time video. Yes guys, this is the story of when I caught my boyfriend cheating. Well, was he my boyfriend or was he just cheating with me? Guys, listen, wait till I tell you this story. But before I go any further, guys, please make sure you click the like button. And if you're new to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you guys. And I want to shout out to all my OGs, my day ones. Thank you for supporting me. And to all my new subscribers, I appreciate you and I love you guys. So now let's just get straight to the story. Okay guys, so this was a few years ago and I gotta be very careful with the names because I still talk to this person till today. I still talk to this person till today, so I gotta be careful not to drop the name in at all, okay? So a few years ago, I think this was probably about 2009. This was a long time. Oh my gosh, time is going so quickly. So this is about 2009 because I remember this clearly because this is the year my brother died, 2009, and I was dating this person in 2009, right? So I was going about my business in Lidl, going to do my shopping and stuff, and this guy approaches me, and he approached me and he's like asking me for my number. Now, this person wasn't my usual type, okay? Not that I have a type, but he wasn't my usual type, okay? So he approached me and obviously, I like my Jamaican men because duh, your girl's Jamaican. If you haven't realized this already, do not let this accent and this cute face fool you because this girl can bring all the spice out, okay? Not because I really kind of flopped in my my spicy noodle challenge, but I'm still spicy in all the other ways, okay guys? So he approached me, Jamaican guy, and obviously if you're a Jamaican guy and you approach me, I'm more likely to be like, hey, you okay? He wasn't my type, guys. I told you he was not my type, but he was very polite. He approached me well, and I was like, okay. So he's there asking me for my number. We had a long conversation actually because I was walking around with my trolley, picking up stuff that I needed. He was there with me as well. Bear in mind, guys, when I was going in, he was coming out, but he turned back to come inside to have conversations with me, which I was like, okay, A for effort. Okay. So, so I was just going about and he's talking to me, he's asking me if I've got a boyfriend. And I'm like, no, I am single. I am single as they come, So he's like, I said, have you got a girlfriend? No, lie. I didn't ask him if he had a girlfriend. I said, where is your girlfriend? That's what I said to him. And he went, my girlfriend, I haven't got a girlfriend. So I said, okay, where is the wife? He said, well, I'm not married. So I was like, okay, where is the baby mama? And he went, well, the kids that I have, they're all grown up and they live back in Jamaica. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll give him some of my time. Let's see let's see where we can go with this. So we're walking around the supermarket. I'm taking up stuff and he's just like, what else do you need? I'll come, I'll get them for you. They're in another aisle. He was really nice. He actually offered to pay for some of my stuff if I gave him my number. And I was just like, I'm very independent. So I'm like, nope, I got it. I can pay for my own groceries. It's fine. I'll pay my stuff. And he's like, when I got out, he said to me, so does that mean that you're not going to give me a number? So I said to him, I'll think about it. Walk with me to the bus stop and I'll think about it. He walked with me to the bus stop. The bus stop was literally right outside the Lidl anyway, so you had to go past it. So technically he didn't really walk me to the bus stop. He was coming out of the Lidl anyways. So anyways, guys, he was standing at the bus stop and I asked him where he lived, and he lived very close to where I lived, probably about 10 minutes in proximity, so it wasn't that far from where I lived. He asked me where I lived. I told him. In the end, I decided to give him my number. Like I said, guys, he wasn't my usual type. He really wasn't. But I was just so tired of going for guys of a certain type or guys that looked a certain way, only to find out they have 25 kids by 55 different baby mamas. Like, it's possible. I don't know. Is it possible? I don't know, guys. But I was just sick and I was tired of it. So I was just like, okay, why don't I just go for somebody who's not normally my type? This is a mistake that I make, and ladies, do not do it. If there's no chemistry, you're not interested, and you see somebody, do not just go for them because they're nice. Stop it. Because when he's nice and you go for him and he breaks your heart and you're thinking, I did not even like the dude in the first place, gave him a chance, he was punching above his damn weight, I gave him a chance, and then he goes and cheat on me when he's not even my type? Ladies, don't do it. You might as well just go for a guy that you really like and he's cute and everything, and then he cheats on you thinking, damn it, I expected it. But not the other way around, okay? Don't settle for anything, guys. Let me just say this. But anyways, we had some communication and we went out for dinner. And you know what? This guy was so attentive. This guy would make me lunch and bring it to work. This guy he would cook for me, make me dinner. Do you know what? I started to think to myself, is this guy trying to fatten me up? Like, I'm thinking he's a feeder. God, ladies, when there's a feeder out there, right? And these guys, they like to just give you loads of food to fatten you up. They're called feeders, right? It's actually a thing. They will feed you and make you put weight and weight and weight. And I started putting on weight while I was dating this guy, and I'm just like, okay, I might have to slow it down because he's always cooking. He's always bringing food. If I'm at work and I'm like, I'm not going to eat anything, and I'm on lunch break, he's like, oh, we're going to have, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to eat anything. He's like, okay, I'll cook something for you. And he did. He would cook it, and then he'll bring it to my house. Anyways, I started noticing very, very soon into that whole little dating, experience, because it's what I call it now, I'm like, you escaped from that one, sister. But anyways, like, I started to realize that when he's with me, his phone doesn't go off that much. Like, I'm not hearing his phone ringing. Like, I'm listening, ladies. I'm like, I'm not hearing his phone ringing. Okay, he must have another phone. Now, I have a thing that I do. When I meet a guy, I have some little tricks and trades. I'll call him a certain time. So I started calling him 9 o'clock at night. And I realized 9 o'clock at night, his phone is switched off. So I'm like, okay, you're tired more than anybody else, I see. Okay. So I realized that he would call me by a certain time and then he gets off the phone. And once he gets off the phone, what I started to do I'd send him a text message. And back then my phone would always deliver once he opened the message, it delivers me a message saying that he's opened the message. So I would do that. So I'd realize that he would have his phone switched off from about 9, 10 o'clock. And he would have it switched back on from about 7 o'clock. Now he starts work, right? He starts work, ladies and gents, at 7:30. So now I'm thinking, okay, so you live near to me, right? You won't go that long without switching your phone on. So that means if you start work at 7:30, you call me at 7:15, right? Because he always called me before work. Gotta give him that. But your phone doesn't switch on until 7 o'clock. So it's kind of like wherever you were, you just left there at 7 o'clock. But wherever you were, it's closer to where you work because you always get to work for 7:30 on time. Because I know you're speaking to me on the phone. You call me every time at 7:15. So I notice. So ladies, I was like, okay, I'll see. So one night he came to my house and he's like, I'm going to go to a party at work. And I just wasn't feeling it. I felt like there was something dodgy here. And I know when there's something dodgy, but I'm the kind of person, if I know there's something dodgy, I need proof, okay? So I'm just going to wait. I'm going to keep my mouth shut until I get the proof. So he's coming to me and he's like, I'm going to come see you. So I said to him, no, it's okay. I'm not really in the mood to see anyone right now. So he's like, no, I want to come see you. So I was like, come to see me tomorrow. He said, okay, because I need you to help me to do something anyway, so I'll come in the morning. I'm like, okay, cool. Now, the following morning, bear in mind, right, this is my day off, my only day off in the week. I called him. I'm like, okay, so what time you coming? Let's call him, what are we going to call him? Let's call him James. So I say, James, what time are you coming by me today? And he's like, oh, I'm going to come to you soon. I just got to go to my sister's house to collect. This is the other thing. James is always at his sister's house. Morning, afternoon, and evening. Nighttime, every single time. James is always at his sister's house. And I had to ask James. I had to ask the question, James, are you doing the dudes with your sister? Because I'm sorry. Like, it's either she isn't your sister or you're doing your sister. But there's no way. I know people are close, guys. Don't get me wrong. I know people are close. But there was just no way that that sister was actually a sister. But I didn't have any proof. And I'm not going to act crazy. So I let it go. Anyways, I say to him, what time you coming? He tells me he's going to come to my house by 11 o'clock. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I was like, what do you want to have for lunch? Do you want to make you something for lunch? He said, yeah, I want ackee and saltfish. Like, guys, people that know me, I love ackee and saltfish and dumpling and banana and all this kind of stuff. But I do not cook a lot of Caribbean food like that in my house. If I want Caribbean food, I go to Z Million. That's how it goes. Sorry, Z Million. Don't. I probably shouldn't have said that because now I'm not going to get no more food. Okay, Z Million, I'm not going to just edit that little bit out, but... But it's the truth, guys. If I want those kind of certain food, I know Z Million likes to cook. You guys have seen her page. I go to Z Million for those food. I try to eat food that I feel like I can control the calorie counts. Now, I get carried away when I'm having some dumpling and ackee and saltfish and all that kind of stuff. I don't care about calorie counts. So, you know, so I don't really cook it. You know, I enjoy it, but I don't actually cook it like that. Unless I'm cooking it for a partner or a friend requests it, right? He said he wants it. I go and I buy the stuff in Brixton and I come back and I cook it, right? I'm being a good girlfriend. I'm being a good girlfriend. That's what I do. I'm being a good girlfriend. 1:30, nothing. 2 o'clock, nothing. I call him at 3 o'clock. I'm like, where are you? He said, oh, I'm on my way back. I was like, okay. He said, don't worry. I'll get to you by 4 o'clock the latest. 4 o'clock comes. Nothing. I call him again. He said to me, he's far away. It's going to take him some time. Then I hear the bus. You know, we have the bus here. If you live in the UK, you know these bus talks. So if you're at a certain stop or a certain area, the bus will say for instance, you're on the bus, the 50 bus going to Croydon. It will get to a stop and it'll be like, number 50 at Glendale Road. Or number 50, West Croydon Station. It does that. So while he's telling me that he's far away, the bus happens to just say the number of the bus, and it told me the area that he was. So I'm just like, on my calculation, 1 + 1 = 2, right? Where you're at, it's just up the road from me. So you're telling me you're far away, unless I've moved or the bus is just making things up. That's just not accurate. Anyways, he hung up the phone. He said to me, don't worry, I'ma come. I'm like, okay, cool, we're good. 7 o'clock, I'm not hearing anything. Remember, this is my day off, right? I have stuff to do. But this guy told me, asked me to do something for him. I put my whole day on hold, trying to help him to do this thing. I cooked. I did everything, and he did not turn up. Now it's pouring rain, and I'm furious. So I text him. I say, listen, come get your stuff. Because he had some stuff in my house. I'm just like, let's come get your stuff, because I'm done with this. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm too pretty for this mess. Like, I did say it, I'm not gonna lie. But back then I was a little bit too much, but I did say it. I'm too pretty for this mess. I'm too pretty for this stress. So come and get your stuff. He's like, I'm not coming to get my stuff. You're overreacting. I'm fine. So I was like, okay. I packed up his stuff in a bag. His glasses, every single thing that I had in the house, and I put on my Wellington boots, and in the rain with my umbrella, and I walked around to his house, and I knocked on the door, boom, 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 and I was ready, because I'm thinking at that point, if I see a girl, I don't know who I'm gonna beat first, but I'm gonna beat somebody up. Like, everybody's gonna get beat. His sister's gonna get beat, his brother-in-law is gonna get beat, his brother's gonna get beat, he's gonna get beat, the girl that's in the house gonna get beat, if there's some kids in the house, they're gonna get beat too. So I was just like, everybody gonna get beat tonight. You know, I'm gonna beat some people. But I didn't beat anybody. I didn't beat anybody. I weren't prepared. I knocked on the door. He opened the door, and I was just like, take your stuff. And then I'm like, I'm going. So his brother-in-law came out, and he's like, it's raining. You can't, like, go. And he's like, I'm like, no. His brother-in-law was like, come in. I'll give you a lift back home because it's raining. I was like, I walked here. I can walk back. I got on really well with his brother-in-law anyway. So I was just like, okay, cool. In the end, I went, and he's like, oh, you're wet, you don't want some soup, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm fine. Anyway, the brother-in-law offered me a lift to my house. I took the lift. I got home. Now, James is calling me. I was like, James, what do you want? He went, I want to come and talk to you. I want to explain some things. I was like, I have nothing. You know, I've got nothing to say to you. I don't think you should come to my house. I don't want to hear it. He said to me, please don't break up with me. I just need to explain something to you. You know, what I was doing today. I got caught up. I was like, no. James didn't listen. James turned up in my house and James came with soup and all that kind of stuff. Now, at the time I was flat sharing with this other guy, right? And James was outside calling me, like, I'm outside, it's raining, please let me in. I'm just like, I didn't invite you to my house, James. I told you not to come to my house, but you still came. Anyways, he's like begging me, please, please, please. I brought the soup in the house. I brought some stuff. I brought you some this and I brought you some that. So I was like, okay, this is how it's gonna go. I go downstairs. I took the soup from him. I took all the stuff that he had and I put it in my kitchen and I closed my door and I left James standing outside in the rain, because at the end of the day, James left me for the whole day, wasting my time. I cooked and nothing, right? So I had no sympathy towards James whatsoever. I'm sorry. Hate if you're gonna hate. Come for me if you're gonna come for me. But I left his ass out there in the rain. Now I went to bed and I hear knock, knock, knock on my bedroom door. So I'm just like, who's that? I went outside. It was James. So I'm like, how the hell did James get in the house? You know, so I went downstairs and I was like to my flatmate, I was like, how did James get in the house? He's like, I'm so sorry. I felt so sorry for him. It was raining. I had to invite him in for a bit of coffee. I felt so bad. I'm so sorry. Don't hate me. And I'm just like, seriously? Seriously. Anyways, James came in, went inside the room, and I was just, okay, you're not going to stay here. But he's like, oh, it's raining. I don't want to go, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, listen, James, I'm not being funny. If you stay here tonight, it's not going to end well. He said to me, no, please let me explain. I said, I don't want to hear anything from you, James. Just leave me alone and go home. Go home. He doesn't go. He doesn't leave. So I'm just like, okay, fair enough. He goes into bed and I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to sleep on this bed with this guy. So I automatically thinking, okay, I'm going to go on the floor, right? And then while I was on the floor, I was like, why the hell am I on the floor? Why the hell am I on the floor? So I decided to get up. I was just like, nope, nope, nope. If anyone's sleeping on the floor tonight, it's you, dude. You, not me. My house. I pay the rent for this place. No. No, no, no. Anyways, he went back and forth. So I was just like, okay, I let him stay on the bed. I went on the bed. And I thought to myself, you know what? If this guy stays, it's not going to end well. I know it's going to be the end of the relationship. So I said to him, I said, listen, James, I will listen to what you got to say tomorrow. I think the best thing for you to do is to go home, because I personally think you've got a girl on the side. I think you're messing about. I think there's some girl that you're seeing behind my back. So I might as well just call this whole thing quits and go about my business. He said, no, I'm not cheating on you. I've got no other person. You're the only person in my life. You're the person I love. So I'm just like, it all sounds good, but here it is. I do not believe you, right? I said, the relationship has to have trust, and I do not trust you. I said, listen, I will listen to all that you have to say if you go home tonight, and tomorrow when I'm a lot less hot-headed, I will listen to you. He won't leave. So I say, listen, if you stay here tonight, the relationship is going to end tomorrow. I can guarantee it, because I know you're hiding something, and I will find out. He obviously did not take me seriously. I waited till he was gone to sleep. And yes, ladies, I said this before in my Girl Start video, right? If you suspect something and that phone is there, if you don't want to go into it, give it to me. I'll do it for you. I got no problem. Go into a guy's phone if I suspect foul play. You hear me? Foul play. I will do what? Okay, thought so. I know you heard me. I know you heard me. So he's sleeping. So I'm just like, okay. I slowly kind of reach into his pocket for his phone. I couldn't get it out. So I was just like, okay. Every time I try to reach for the phone, he shuffles, and I'm just like, oh, I gotta get this phone out of this guy's trousers without him waking up. Now, the only way I knew how to do back then was to get him completely out of the trousers. And you know how. I don't need to say anything else. But anyways, the do's happened. He left his trousers on the floor. I was okay with it. I hushed him back to bed. Go to sleep, go to sleep. We good. The moment he was sleeping, I went through that phone, took all the numbers I needed to get, read all the text messages I needed to read. I looked on the call logs, and I got every information that I needed. I put the phone back into his trousers, and I went back to sleep. Now, for some reason, I don't remember what it was, my brother called me about 3 o'clock. My brother was in Jamaica. He had not long moved to Jamaica, so he was, sometimes he would call me at random hours. I think sometimes he kind of forgot the time difference because my brother was living here for many, many years, ever since we were like young. I was 14 when I moved there, so you get the gist, right? So my brother called me, and James woke up with the phone ringing. He woke up and he was like, "Who's that on the phone? Who's that man on the phone? Who's calling you at this time of the night?" And my brother is in my ear saying, "You need to tell that guy to calm himself down, because if he need me to come and sort him out, it can happen." So I'm just like, "Calm down, okay? Don't want nobody beating up nobody, okay?" So I was like talking to my brother, ignoring James altogether. Now, before James left for work that morning, I said to him, "James, is there anything that you want to tell me?" He said, "No." I said, "James, listen, I'm giving you a chance to come clean about anything that you need to come clean. Tell me." He said, "I got nothing to come clean about. You're the only girl I'm seeing. You're the person I love. You're the one I want to be with. I got nothing to hide." Okay. If the man say he has nothing to hide, he has nothing to hide, right? So if I call these numbers, he has nothing to hide. Anyways, I bought a phone card, right? We used to do top-ups at the time, right? So you could buy the card and then you add up the top-up to the phone, whatever. It was pay as you go back then, okay? So I did it, and it so happened I was in Lidl, where we met. Coincidence. So I sent out some text messages. Like, I was sending out text messages the whole day. I was just like, "Oh, there we go, dude. How do you know James? Da, 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 da. Do you know James? I seen this in the, da, da, da. Who are you to James?" Now I get a text message back. Boom. This person, let's call her Tanya. Let's call her Tanya. Tanya calls back, and Tanya's like, "How do you know James?" I was just like, "Well, I asked you." I asked you, so you could tell me, and then I will probably tell you how I know James. She went, "James is my boyfriend." So I went, "Oh, is he?" She went, "Yeah, James is my boyfriend. He's been my boyfriend for 2 years." So I'm just like, oh, Jesus wept, because I've only just been seeing this guy for about 4 months, So I'm just like, "Sorry, girl, Tanya, my bad, And then she went to me, "Are you seeing James?" I was like, "Not anymore." And she was like, What do you mean by that?" I said, "Well, up until today, as far as I'm concerned, James' only girlfriend was me. So now that you're telling me that you're James' girlfriend, I can't be James' girlfriend, because, if you're James' girlfriend, that means, Anyway, she was like, started crying on the phone. Surprised me. She was crying on the phone. I felt bad, and I was like, shit. I'm the kind of person I kind of draw people's emotions. So I was calming her down. I'm like, "Listen, darling, listen, you don't deserve this person. You don't deserve him. He told me about Tanya, because this is how I know he told me about Tanya, right? He was telling me that he had this ex-girlfriend, and this ex-girlfriend was a lot older, right? She was a lot older, and he wanted more kids, and this girlfriend couldn't give him any kids, and she was too old, and she was this and she was that. And then he told me that they broke up. Now, by talking to Tanya, I kind of realized that he was referring to Tanya. The only problem is Tanya was not his ex-girlfriend. Tanya was his current girlfriend. So therefore, if Tanya was his girlfriend for 2 years and I was only his girlfriend for 4 months, I was a side chick, honey. The boy turned me into a side chick without my knowledge, without my mother fudging knowledge. Can you believe this? So I was just like, So I continued to send out text messages, right? So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. So you know what I did, guys? You know what I did? I did all this. I spoke to her. She cut her trip. She was actually in Jamaica on holiday. She cut her trip, and she wanted to come back. Now, I said to him, the night he called me, he said, "Why did you, send messages to my sister?" So I was just like, well, everybody got a message. You wasn't your sister. Everybody got your message. Ask Tanya. I messaged Tanya too. I spoke to Tanya. She's a lovely girl, by the way. He's like, "What? You spoke to Tanya? Who's Tanya?" I was like, "Oh, really? You don't know who Tanya is?" Anyways, he goes on back and forth, back and forth. In the end, he's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm no longer with Tanya. She keeps forcing herself up on me. I keep telling her no, and I don't want to hurt her feelings because I don't want to. She's depressed." And he kept saying all these things about Tanya. I said to him, "I'm not answering your calls." So I stopped answering his calls. Only problem is, a few days down the line, I'm in my bed. my phone rings. I don't know who it is. And I'm so polite. When people call me, I don't know who you hell you are. I'm talking to you nicely. This female on the other end of the line, guys, ignore that. That was from my brows. I did my brows and I did it on my hand and I forgot to take it off. Actually, I didn't forget to take it off. I just couldn't get it off because it's waterproof. But anyways, guys, so this woman, she calls me and she's talking to me nicely and she's just like, good morning. So I was like, good morning. And she's like, can I speak to James? So I was just like, this is not James' phone. I think you got the wrong number. She went, is this not Sassy? I was like, it is. And then she went, is James not with you? I said, he isn't. And then she's like, it's Tanya. So I was like, hi, Tanya. She's like, I'm back and he's meant to collect me from the airport. That was our arrangement before I went to Jamaica. And I've been calling him and he doesn't pick up. So I was like, I'm really sorry, Tanya. But ever since that day that I found out about you, and James tried to lie about you, I have not answered any calls to James. He calls me every day, but I don't answer his phone calls. She said, well, he's not answering my phone calls, da 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 da. So I was like, well, I can't help you. Anyways, I hung up the phone. I'm not upset with her. I feel sorry for her because she doesn't deserve it, right? So the same day, actually, in the evening, James called me. I answered. I said, listen, you didn't remember to pick up Tanya from the airport. She called me. She thought you was with me. I had to explain to her that you wasn't with me. She had to take a cab home. You should have picked her up from the airport. That's what the agreement. That's what I said to him. He said to me, I don't want Tanya. I want you. I love you. I want to be with you. I'm not answering my calls to Tanya no more. That's it. We're done. I was like, I don't want you. It's done for me. The following morning, again, Tanya calls me. She wants to talk to James. I was like, Tanya, this is not James' phone. Tanya, it's not James' phone, right? She's like, but if he's not with me, he must be with you. I said, James is not with me. James has not been with me since the day that I found out that you was with James for 2 years. Because the way James chased me in Little, there's no way that I would want to be with a guy that was in a relationship and still chase another woman the way he chased me. So I said, darling, I'm not interested in James. Anyway, stick a pin. While I was talking to her, James called my other phone. I put her on speaker. I put him on speaker and I let it. I said, because I was saying to her, listen, James do not love you. He does not respect you. The way he talks about you, he's not a good person. Leave him alone. Now, I put James on speaker and I let her hear all the stuff that James was saying, because when I was trying to tell her these things, she wasn't believing me. So I said, listen, I'm not forcing myself on James. I don't want to be with James. But if this is what you want to hear from his own mouth, him saying the stuff that I'm telling you that he's been saying to me, then go ahead. So I put him on speaker and she heard him say all these things. She started crying, so I hung the phone up from him. I just hung up. I didn't tell him I was going. I just hung the phone up. So I tried to console her, because at the end of the day, I'm a woman at the end of the day, and I've been there. I was able to be stronger to move away and walk away from him. I was with him for 4 months. She was with him for 2 years. She gave everything to this guy for 2 years, and this guy did her the way that he did. Now, for me, I'm sorry, I took myself out of the equation. I forgot that this guy was cheating on me. Although really, realistically, he was cheating with me. But I completely took myself out of the equation and I started to focus on her because I felt bad for her and she didn't deserve that. Anyways, I realized Tanya was trying to be my best friend. Now, the only thing me and Tanya had in common was the James situation. So every conversation we had, Tanya would bring up the James situation. And I did not want to hear anything about the James situation. The moment I stopped answering Tanya's call about James and talk about James, Tanya started to stalk me. Tanya started to call me, hung up in my ears. Tanya would get upset with me and all these kind of things, guys. I'm telling you. Now, this guy, 2 years was with her. 2 whole years. Tanya swore to me, she took God off the cross, say she would never go back to this guy. Less than 2 weeks, Tanya calls me. Tanya tells me that she's gone back to him and she loves him and I shouldn't stop talking to her and I could answer my phone calls to her. She feels like I'm avoiding her. I said, Tanya, if you're going to forgive this person, you need to put whatever happened behind you and you have to move forward. Right, guys? I told her, you got to move forward. You're going to forgive somebody. You got to put it behind you and move forward. right? Do you know what happened? Tanya forgave James. She did. Bless her. She forgave James. James went to Jamaica and got married while he was with Tanya. He got married to somebody else. Tanya had no idea about it. I even found that out before Tanya and I weren't even dating him. So ladies, all I'm saying is, right, we got to be so careful. So careful. That's one of my many experiences with guys trying to act smart, right? She forgave him. I told her to leave him, let him be. But because he had no respect for her. No respect he had for her. But she went back to him. And once a cheater? Is he always a cheater? I don't know. I used to say once a cheater, always a cheater. But now I'm thinking maybe not. But in his case, always a cheater. Always. He's probably going to be so pissed off at me if he actually sees this video. Because we actually still talk every now and again. He still messages me and calls me every now and again. He probably will be super pissed off with me, but I don't care. This is my truth. This is my story. And this is what you get when you mess about and you try to break people's hearts. I will out you. This is my story. I'm outing people. So yes, guys, thank you so much for listening to my story. Please make sure you click the like button. Yes, guys, click the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet subscribed. Thank you for all of you, all your support. I love you, appreciate you, and I pray and I ask that you continue to support me. Okay, guys, I love you. Bye.